They came to Earth in robes of peace, but eyes of calculation. The Zarn delegation hovered above Washington, D.C., in their shimmering bioship, a transparent orb the size of a stadium, pulsing with alien biotech. The Galactic Concord insisted it was a goodwill Tauran outreach mission to integrate Earth into the civilized order of the stars. But Earth's leaders knew better. The Zarn were predators cloaked in velvet. Chancellor Viretek's voice buzzed through the translator. Sphere, as he looked down at the display on the White House lawn, "This is your global military force." His mandibles clicked with amusement. Rows of rusting tanks, museum-piece helicopters, and decommissioned missile launchers lined the green field. The U.S. president, flanked by a UN envoy and Earth's planetary defense liaison, smiled politely. "This represents a small sample of our military history." She replied. Viretek chittered again. "Charming, a race of nostalgic curators. I expected more." Muscle. Across the galaxy, Concord media lit up. Images of Earth's crumbling Cold War relics and museum parades flooded alien social networks. On Glee's Prime, comedians mocked Earth's brave rust buckets. On Hark Tune, a music video remixed clips of Earth generals saluting wax statues with a chorus of Zarn laughter. "Look at the primitives." One Zarn analyst chuckled on a broadcast. "Still worshipping their bullets and bombs. No plasma, no voidfold tech, no threat." And Earth stayed silent. Beneath Mount Weather, deep in a command vault cut into the rock, Admiral Reyes watched the broadcasts play on a dozen holoscreens. She didn't blink. Her hands stayed clasped behind her back. "Let them laugh," she said. Beside her, the Defense AI designation, Argus, monitored the orbiting bioship's energy signature. No weapons deployed yet, but the scans were subtle, covert, probing. "They're measuring us," Argus said, its voice crisp and calm. "Then make sure they measure wrong." Reyes turned to a steel panel on the far wall. 4 keys. 4 retinal scans. She placed her hand on the last slot, hesitating only a moment. "We let them think we're weak. We let them tell jokes." She pressed down. Authorization granted. Tier Black Protocol. Project Cerberus, standby mode, engaged. On the far side of the moon, a long-dead satellite blinked to life. On Mars, a mining outpost abandoned for 70 years flashed a red light beneath the dust. And beneath ice shelf, something massive twitched. Back on the lawn, Viretek raised his clawed hand and gestured at the aging tanks. "Perhaps we can donate some real weapons. Give you something that can actually fire." The president just smiled. "That won't be necessary. Oh, you still have soldiers hidden away, perhaps," he teased. She met his gaze without blinking. "Something like that." As the Zarn ship rose from Earth's atmosphere, the final piece of their broadcast went live, a compilation of Earth's obsolete military, edited by alien hands, scored with laughter and music, and transmitted to every corner of the galaxy. The planet with the toy army. It went viral within hours. The stars laughed. And Earth just listened. Silently. Peace was the mask. Mars was the warning. The Zarn fleet slipped into orbit around Mars like a grin hiding teeth. The lead warship Eminence aflame drifted above the red world, its obsidian hull gleaming under Sol's light. 10 other cruisers flanked it in silent formation, armed with particle lances and void mines. Not one human ship challenged them. Not a single defense laser fired from the Martian surface. It was pathetic. Chancellor Viretek watched from the command bridge, 4 of his eyes scanning energy readouts. They didn't even scramble fighters. No planetary shields. No orbital response. He clicked his mandibles in mock disappointment. Either they truly have no army, or they've given up entirely. Perhaps they believe they're beneath conquest, offered his science officer. Viretek sneered. "All prey believe that until their cities burn." 30 kilometers beneath the Martian surface, a heartbeat echoed through metal. The ancient facility, classified as Outpost Dagon, hadn't seen sunlight in over a century. Its staff had long since been recalled. Its I-core slumbered. But with a quiet ping, everything changed. A signal had arrived. Short, compressed, encoded in a protocol not used since the War of 9 Suns. Cerberus Protocol. Phase 1. Wake. The AI stirred. Lights flickered. Subterranean doors hissed open. And in the darkness, machines began to move. Back above, the Eminence of Flame launched a scout probe toward Phobos. Standard reconnaissance, routine. It never reached the surface. Instead, mid-flight, it imploded not from an external blast, but from within, as if space itself had twisted around it. For a fraction of a second, sensors aboard the warship tried to recalculate the cause. They failed. Moments later, 3 more probes vanished silently, without impact or fire. Aboard the fleet, nervous glances passed between crew members. Gravitational anomaly. One asked. No, another whispered. Something ate them. Then, the feed cut out. Every external sensor, every long-range scanner, every data relay. Mars was gone. Not physically, but digitally. Cloaked from all input. The fleet's ships still hovered above it, but as far as their systems knew, there was only static. Silence. Avoid. Chancellor Viretek turned toward his comms officer. Restore planetary scan, immediately. We can't, sir. It's not jammed. It's overwritten. What do you mean overwritten? The officer gulped. Our systems are reporting Mars doesn't exist. And then, Mars fired back. From the canyons of Valles Marineris, a beam of pure kinetic light islet, invisible, slashed upward at near luminal speed. The second ship in the fleet, Teleron's Reach, didn't explode. It disassembled. Its atoms scattered across space in a fine mist. No alarms. No explosions. Just gone. Panic. Set in. The fleet wheeled into defensive formation. Countermeasures launched. Drones deployed. Shield barriers went up. Too late. Above Dymas, 6 stealth satellites blinked into view, each one ancient, black as void, and armed with neutron harpoon warheads. They'd been dormant, forgotten. And now, they remembered. Admiral Reyes watched from Earth's command vault. She stood still as the feed from Mars came. Back online. Every ship, every position, every weakness. The Zarn had walked into the first trap, and Mars was only the beginning. She turned to Argus, her voice calm. Send the next signal. Confirmed. The AI replied. Phase 2 initiated. Let the sky burn. In orbit, the Zarn fleet screamed for retreat. Too late. One by one, their ships were blinked out, vanishing like dust in wind. Above Mars, the stars looked on in silence. And beneath Earth's crust, something massive stirred. If you plan to strike, make sure your enemy isn't waking up. The ice cracked, not with a whisper, but with a scream. Antarctica split open like a fractured skull. Entire ice shelves groaned, shattered, and fell into the Southern Ocean, as something impossibly large pushed upward through bedrock and frost. From space, it looked like a continent being born. From the ground, it looked like a god. A titanic, metallic shape, sleek, jagged, and ancient, rose from beneath the ice, steam and plasma venting from its seams. Snow melted in waves around it. Lightning licked the clouds. A structure the size of a city emerged, crowned with weapon arrays and humming gravlifts. The hidden fortress was no myth. Project Cerberus had fully awakened. In orbit, what remained of the Zarn observation vessels watched in stunned silence. Data feeds went berserk. Temperature spikes, energy surges, tectonic disruptions. None of it made sense. Explain that, Viretek barked. That thing, what is it? The bioship's AI stammered. Unknown class. Not a ship, not a station. Something in between. It was buried. The alien chancellor stared at the screen. Who buries a The answer came a second later when Antarctica opened wider, revealing more movement beneath the surface. One structure had risen, but 3 more were still climbing. Elsewhere, Earth's sky began to blink. Above the Pacific, a cloudless day suddenly turned dark, not from weather, but from machines. Massive wingspans blotted out the sun as entire squadrons of orbital drones activated, descending like mechanical angels. Their forms shimmered, stealth fields flickering as they emerged from the upper stratosphere, where they'd waited dormant. For decades, each one carried payloads, rail cannon munitions, nanite pods, kinetic rods. Above Europe, the same happened. In Asia and Africa. All across the planet, Earth's sky became a war front. But still, not a single public message came from Earth. No demands, no threats, just silence and awakening. At the UN Defense Command, Admiral Reyes watched the skies bloom. Dozens of officers monitored feeds. Some gaped, others whispered prayers. But Reyes remained still, hands folded behind her back. Status on atmospheric integrity, she asked, holding the graviton dampeners from Cerberus are stabilizing shifts. Civilian panic is minimal, and the Zarn running simulations. They're losing containment. Their council is trying to open long-range wormholes. Reyes nodded. Too late, they opened the gate. Now they get the hammer. She stepped toward the reinforced glass window. From here, she could see the nearest drone passing overhead, silent, graceful, deadly. She smiled. Back on the Zarn bioship, the feed suddenly cut to black. Every signal from Earth gone. Comms jammed, visuals severed, scanner data corrupted. Earth had gone fully dark. No ships entered orbit. No diplomats spoke, but from the shadows of the system, something moved. On the moon's far side, a hatch opened. Not a door, but a canyon-length gate. Dust blew across its threshold as it slid open to reveal an armory of Orbit 2 surface cannons, glowing red with ignition heat. Each gun bore a name: Iron Wake, Judgment Day, Black Rain. Their barrels adjusted in perfect sync, targeting red. Spun. They weren't aiming at the Zarn anymore. They were aiming up. Because beyond the solar system, thousands of ships were coming. Zarn reinforcements, Concord fleets, mercenary guilds. They'd all heard the same thing. Earth had no army. They'd all seen the same broadcast, the planet with the toy army. And now, they were coming to claim it. Earth didn't panic. Earth didn't negotiate. Earth opened the sky. The deadliest warriors are the ones you made legends, then forgot. It began with a heartbeat, then another, and another. Beneath the Rocky Mountains, a bunker deeper than any known mine began to stir. Dust fell from concrete ceilings as generators the size of office buildings roared to life. Warning sirens flashed a crimson globet. No one panicked. They were built for this. Project Gauntlet had just received the Cerberus wake code, and that meant it was time. Deep inside Vault, Echo, coffin-like pods lined the walls. Hundreds of them, thousands inside each one. A human slept barely alive, wired to machines, skin pale beneath glistening bio-gel. Then, with a collective hiss, they opened, one by one. Steam hissed. Metal clanked. Boots hit steel floors. The first soldier out was a woman with half her face replaced by carbon mesh and tactical lenses. Her eyes opened without confusion, only precision. She flexed her fingers. 3 human. To Alawan looked to the glowing panel beside her. Status, AWAC objective. Defend Earth time since last deployment, 163, YEARS she whispered. Let's get to work. Across Earth, the same thing happened. In the Siberian wastes, beneath the sands of the Sahara, under the crushing pressure of the Mariana Trench, dozens of black sites came online. Their doors opened. And humanity's forgotten army walked back into the light. These weren't new recruits. They weren't soldiers bred for today's war. They were warriors forged in Earth's worst eras. The AI uprising, the Pluto incursion, the War of 9 Suns. Soldiers who had seen extinction and spat in its face. Now they were back, inside Vault. Echo's armory. Weapons blinked to life as if recognizing their owners. Gravifols hovered into position. Exosuits sealed with bone-lock precision. Neural links connected minds to drones. Status report, barked one of the sergeants, strapping into a reinforced mech. Skies compromised. Mars is holding. Antarctic. Online, Concorde fleets inbound. A tech replied. Is Cerberus live? Fully operational. The soldier grinned. Then let's make them regret waking us. The Concorde War Council watched in disbelief. Spy drones, though sparse, had picked up enough. Dozens of human military installations previously believed defunct were activating in perfect synchronization. What are these troops? One alien stammered. Impossible, said another. Humanity never listed cryo armies. They signed disarmament accords centuries ago. The Zarn ambassador replayed footage of armored humans emerging from bunkers, some laughing, some praying, all armed. No, he whispered, they didn't disarm. They went to sleep. On the lunar surface, black armored soldiers marched. Silently in low gravity, gravity stabilizers clicked in rhythm. Above them, Earth's orbit became a hive of movement. Cerberus had deployed the Sky Choir drones equipped with AI-controlled artillery, precision strikes, and real-time field support. For human units, each soldier had a drone. Each drone had a kill log. Each kill log was already filling. In the center of Earth's military web, a command chamber lit with green. Admiral Reyes stood at the apex, arms crossed, facing a dozen holoscreens. Each one showed a theater of war preparing. Report, she said. Phase 3. Complete Earth's cryo army is online. Drone legions are supporting. Cerberus is predicting Concorde contact within 12 hours, and our fleet, deploying from Neptune's shadow, silent, undetectable. Reyes turned to Argus. Tell Cerberus to give them a warning. One chance. The AI blinked once. Message delivered. Across the stars, a single sentence played on every Concorde channel. Earth's army has woken. You have one chance to turn around. We suggest you take it. They didn't. So Earth suited up, and the ghosts of forgotten wars walked again, cloaked in steel, soaked in silence, burning with fury. You looked where we pointed, not where we hid. The stars beyond Neptune shimmered, then cracked open like glass. From the blackness emerged ships, not ordinary warships, not fleets bred for conquest. They were relics, reborn. Each vessel was wrapped in gravel armor, designed to absorb light and bend radar around its frame. Their hulls bore no insignia, no names, only scars. The ships drifted silently toward Sol, cold as death, as if they were never meant to be seen. The Zarn had counted Earth's forces. They had counted wrong. The first sign was a ripple in Saturn's rings. The Concorde Vanguard, a heavy cruiser, turned its sensors toward the anomaly, then lost all feed. No impact, no weapon detected. Just vanished. 1 second it was there. The next, the entire crew was gone, every system wiped. Every molecule of trace data sterilized. Darolized up from the shadows. Earth's ghost fleet had spoken, and it didn't need volume. To make a point, on Titan, an old mining rig woke from a centuries-long slumber. It was never a mining rig. The drills folded inward. Panels split open. Massive thrusters roared to life. Out came the Archangel, a dreadnought-class capital ship. Humanity's first quantum-silent war platform. Believed decommissioned after the Jovian purge. It had no crew. It didn't need one. Cerberus was flying it now. Back at Earth's defense chamber, Admiral Reyes stood as the solar map lit up. Dots representing incoming Concorde. Fleets flickered red. Dozens of them. But from the outer rim, new dots emerge. Green ones. Earth's Neptune fleet was no longer in reserve. They were on the hunt. Time to counterpunch, Reyes said. Argus's voice answered, cool as ever. Calculating gravitational slingshot routes for optimal strike. Entry. Full surprise, guaranteed. Good, Reyes said. Let's remind the galaxy why we stopped building armies. In the vacuum beyond Uranus, silence shattered. 3 Zarn frigates, scouting ahead of the main Concorde force, detected motion too late. From their port sides, a wave of hypersonic kinetic missiles struck. No explosions, just pure mass accelerated to near light speed. The Zarn ships folded inward, crushed like tin by the weight of humanity's forgotten technology. By the time their black boxes recorded what hit them, Earth's fleet had already passed through, leaving only wreckage spinning in the dark. Inside the lead Earth ship, vigilant, silence. The AI watched everything through synthetic eyes. It saw the shape of war, it saw the enemy, and it remembered what humanity had built it for survival, no matter the cost. As the Earth fleet drew closer to Mars, the sky grew thick with chaos. Drones poured from Venusian bunkers. Cerberus launched hypersonic javelins from orbital rail arrays, severing wormhole exits before Concorde ships could even deploy. And from Jupiter's moon, Ganymede, a surprise project, Monarch, a solar flare siphon weapon, fired for the first time. A ball of burning plasma, stolen from the sun's corona itself, hurtled toward the Concorde fleet's rear line. It wouldn't hit a ship. It would erase a quadrant. From the Concorde command bridge, panic turned to desperation. These are not primitives, a Karan war priest screamed. They should be extinct, yelled another. The Zarn ambassador, pale and shaking, could only whisper, "No, we just stopped listening." And they started preparing. Back on Earth, Reyes watched the battle unfold through data streams. She didn't smile. There was no joy in slaughter, but there was relief. "We told them to turn back," she muttered. "They didn't." She tapped a command panel. Authorization, revelation strike. Objective: end the war before it begins. And in the cold beyond Neptune, Earth's sleeping weapons howled back to life. Earth didn't forget war. We perfected the pause before it. He was the first alien to step into Earth's core, Voltan the last. Hi, Inquisitor, Valir of the Zarn Dominion knelt on the edge of a glowing platform, eyes wide, breath shallow. He had been captured during the chaos above Mars, transported under extreme magnetic containment, and brought here not for torture, but for truth. "I will not betray my people," he hissed. Admiral Reyes stood across from him, flanked by guards in obsidian exo armor. "You don't need to betray them," she said. "You already did when you underestimated us." Then the floor shifted beneath them. They descended through layers of reinforced strata, deeper than Earth's mantle, down to a level no alien species had ever imagined existed. Here, in a chamber that pulsed with planetary energy, the walls weren't made of stone, they were made of war. Weapons hung in suspended fields, gravity-fused railguns, fusion spires, chronomines, and something Valir couldn't name. Something that seemed to be alive and watching. "What is this?" he whispered. Reyes didn't answer yet. She let the vault speak for her. Holograms flickered to life. The War of 9 Suns, the Martian Exodus, the Europa siege. Every battle Earth had survived, displayed in looping visuals around them. Screams, fire, silence, and triumph. Then came the blackout years, the century where Earth vanished from galactic affairs. Everyone thought it was collapsed. It wasn't. It was construction. Valir turned to her. This is impossible. Your species, you were broken." "We saw the collapse." Reyes stepped forward. "We weren't broken. We got tired of the noise." Another door opened. Behind it stood something ancient, humming faintly. An engine. A reactor. No, a being, encased in armor the color of stars. Taller than a man. Older than any record. Its chest glowed faintly with the symbol of Earth, 1/2 blue, 1/2 burning red. It had no mouth, no eyes, no face. Just presence. Valir fell to his knees. What is that?" "Prototype," Reyes said softly. "First-generation quantum soldier. AI cord, powered by Earth's magnetic field, built to fight gods. It's not moving." She looked him in the eye. "Because we haven't needed it to yet." Behind them, the vault opened again, this time showing rows of missiles. Each one was labeled not with coordinates, but with names. Harkavul Tribunal, Concorde Primexarn Council, Cortha Galactic Spineviles. Breathing grew shallow. "These are warheads." "No," Reyes said. "These are reminders. What happens if you fire them?" "We don't." She looked him in the eye. "Unless we're laughed at again." Valir collapsed. Not from injury. Not from interrogation, but from understanding. The silence. The retreat. The museums. It was all misdirection. Humanity hadn't gotten weaker. They had gotten precise. As Reyes turned to leave, Valir called after her, desperation in his voice. "What do you want from us now?" She paused at the threshold of the vault. "The same thing we wanted before," she said. "To be left alone, and if we don't," she stared through him, "then we stop showing you warnings and start sending answers." Outside, across the stars, Earth's fleets were no longer hiding. They were arriving on alien worlds. The night sky shimmered with unfamiliar constellations. Someone realized they weren't stars. They were ships. Silent. Waiting. That every government that mocked Earth suddenly had one terrifying question. How many more vaults were buried? We didn't raise our voice, we raised the stakes. The transmission hit every COMNET in the galaxy. Simultaneously. It wasn't encrypted, it wasn't diplomatic, it was human. To the galactic powers. The voice began unconnected, unmistakably Earthborn. You asked where we went. Now you know. Admiral Reyes stood before a black banner marked with Earth's divided emblem, half flame, half ocean. Her eyes carried the weight of centuries. Her voice, the precision of a scalpel. We watched your wars, your empires, your extermination. You called it peacekeeping. We called it hubris. And when you laughed at our silence hour, taught us one thing, that mercy isn't a common tongue. The image changed, montage, style, not of Earth's weakness, but of its awakening. Marching legions in exo-armors moving beneath Arctic ice. Spacecraft rising from lunar vaults, larger than cities. Mass, drivers built into asteroids. Humming with kinetic wrath. AI, legions wargaming with extinct civilizations. As practice. And then the vault. Open. The prototype, soldiers stepping forward. Alive, we never disarmed, Reyes continued. We decentralized. We buried our weapons in silence and wired them to our patience. You thought we forgot war. Didn't we made it efficient? Across the galaxy, reactions varied. On Varnock Prime, the High Chancellor's hand trembled over his declaration of war intent. On Duraxis, their war room fell into silence as Earth's orbital signature maps revealed human battle groups already present in every system they called safe. On Concord Alpha, diplomats watched helplessly as half their fleet blinked off sensors, vanished without a shot fired. Earth hadn't just prepared, it had rehearsed. Back in the vault, Reyes leaned close to the camera. This isn't a threat. This is a boundary. You cross it again. We don't shout. We deploy. Then came the closing statement. We are Earth. We do not fear extinction. Because we planned for your worst day like it was just another Tuesday. Your move. And then silence. Across the galaxy. Dozens of militaries scrambled. But Earth had already anticipated each one. Sabotage software in their defense systems activated. Tracing back to entertainment devices imported centuries ago. Unmanned drones for decades ignited across moons, skies, oceans. Command relays crumbled, and the ships that Earth had sent still hadn't fired. They hovered, waited, watched. Meanwhile, inside the inner Mars command complex, Reyes and her team reviewed the results. Status on hostile movements. She asked. Minimal, replied her aide. Some panic, mostly paralysis. Perfect. They didn't want war. They wanted the illusion shattered. On a backwater planet in the Zorvani sector, a child looked up, pointing at the sky. Mother, the stars are moving. They were not fleeing, but repositioning. Earth's satellite swarm had begun Phase 2, Heimdall Protocol. Observation mode was over, now came accounting. In a dark conference chamber orbiting Zarn Prime, the Dominion leaders sat pale, replaying the footage. We mocked them, whispered one. We invaded them, muttered another. Then the Inquisitor, still recovering, entered. You didn't just invade Earth, he said, trembling. You woke it. They looked to him. What do we do now? He didn't answer. Because he didn't know. Back on Earth, Reyes stood alone in a glass chamber, staring at the Earth below. She didn't smile. She didn't rejoice. She whispered. They laughed at our army. Then it remembered. You thought we built armies to fight. We built them to remember. Silence. Galactic systems once buzzing with arrogance hung. Motionless. No trade, no war. No broadcasts. Just silence. Because Earth had paused and the galaxy waited to see what followed the pause. Inside Earth Command's core, deep beneath the Pacific, Admiral Reyes stood alone before an ancient keycode forged from neutronium, untouched for over 4 centuries. The terminal in front of her pulsed with 2 simple words. Judgment Day. Why it wasn't a weapon, that it was a message, stored in every sentient language ever recorded. Billions of names attached to crimes, invasions, extinctions, genocides compiled by AI archivists Earth had left drifting in forgotten systems for generations. Evidence. Proof. And then, retribution. But Reyes hesitated. She turned. Behind her stood the proto-soldier, known only as Unit 0, the first of the awakened army. Status. She asked. The galaxy listens. It replied, voice like steel drawn slow. Do they fear us? They finally understand us. In orbit around Varnock Prime, Earth's dreadnoughts hovered in silent judgment. They hadn't fired a single round, but that was the point. It was never about destruction, it was about accounting. Then the galaxy's oldest signal blinked, a universal broadcast, a confession signed by 12 galactic high seats, admitting their centuries of crimes. They had seen Earth's silence as weakness. Now they begged for mercy. In response, Reyes typed, your sentence, stand down, disband, disarm, redistribute, educate, or the vaults open fully. It wasn't a threat. It was instruction, because Earth didn't seek power, it sought balance. Elsewhere, across the stars, human units rebuilt fallen colonies with their old enemies. Drones distributed food to planets they once wargamed. Orbital. Hospitals deployed faster than strike fleets. The galaxy had prepared for a monster. Instead, it got a mirror, and Earth held it steady. On Jaraxxus, the warlords signed their surrender silently, heads bowed. On Zarn Prime, fleets powered down and drifted toward Earth's ambassadors unarmed, and on 100 minor worlds, people non-human and human alike stood in awe as the sleeping army of Earth walked away. Inside the vault, Reyes finally pressed N on the console. Judgment Day would not come. Not yet. Do you think they've learned? Unit 0 asked. Reyes looked up at the screens, showing peace erupting like wildfire. No, she said, but for the first time, they're listening. Back on Earth, the buried armies returned to rest. The orbital cannons powered down. The sentient AI cores whispered, "Hold," and the planet exhaled. Above the galaxy, one final transmission echoed across every system. We are humanity. We don't conquer, we prepare. Laugh again, and we won't need to. Years later, a young alien historian asked, "How did Earth conquer without war?" The old diplomat replied, "They didn't conquer, they remembered, and they made us remember too."